Wow, look at me. I mean, who would have thought? Here I am on my favorite thing I do every day, snaps, and I'm just chopping it up with a couple of Georgia Bulldog legends. I got Aaron Murray, who I have to deal with every day, and now I got one of the strongest people to ever play college football. Never forget going to Georgia on recruiting visits in high school and seeing this man's name all over the chart and being mind blown at the numbers. David Pollack. At David Pollack 47 on Twitter. Of course, see him on ESPN College Game Day all the time. The man who just looked the Crimson Emperor in the eye and told him your time in the sun is done. Let's go. David, what's up, man? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, that got a little bit of attention. I saw a lot of that. Got a lot more response than I expected. But it was nice to meet you finally, Mr. T-Bob, sir. Nice, Greater Atlanta Christian, right down the road from Athens,
right,
Georgia. Should have been a Bulldog, huh?
It was. Look, man. If my grandfather, so all my family's originally from Louisiana, had my grandfather not brainwashed me LSU like from the time I was a little kid, yes, Georgia would have been the play. I took a lot of unofficial visits to Athens in high school to go enjoy the town. Best college town, without a doubt. Now, I want to ask you a little sausage making here, David. When you're sitting at the desk, y'all are getting pumped up for halftime. You know what you're about to do. I don't exactly know how it works. I've never done it, but I imagine producers like, okay, you have these many seconds. Just give us a quick answer here. Were you cognizant of what you were about to say to Nick Saban and kind of the reaction that it would garner?
No and no. First of all, usually the halftimes are very quick. So they'll tell you to be succinct. They don't want to say short. They don't want to say brief, but like we only got so much time. The game was already out of control. I mean, everybody knew that the TCU had no prayer. So it kind of turns into a debate, or it kind of turns into a different than normal. Like, what are we going to do? Halftime adjustments. We covered that real quick because there's nothing they can do. It's over. And then it was, talking about Stetson Bennett's legacy in Georgia's. And then to me, the natural, transition was, well, Georgia and where they're at in college football. So I never thought about it until it came up. And honestly, I looked at Nick as an analyst. I didn't look at Nick at all as Alabama. I never once thought about that. I never once thought about being disrespectful to him. That's hopefully not going to be who I am and in my nature. No clue that it would get that much attention. No clue. And then all of a sudden you're getting text and all the memes and all the slow motions. Holy cow, what in the heck just happened? So, no, I had absolutely zero clue that was going to happen.
Well, first off, it wasn't disrespectful. Like, even if it were intending to say that, like, there was no disrespect in that comment. You were speaking the truth, speaking your mind. But after that moment, when you said it, and it went to obviously the next person for them to make their comment, was there a moment in your mind like, wow, I just really said that? And Nick Saban, not the analyst, but the head coach of Alabama, is sitting by me, or it's just business as normal?
I never thought about it once. I just thought it was business as normal. And, we shook hands. And then as soon as he got finished, he was done for the night. So he took off and I think flew home. So no, there was no animosity. There was no stare down. I do see how Alabama fans are going to love this and they're going to use this for the next 300 days, whatever, to get their team excited and motivated. And that's the way it works. But I mean, if we're being honest, I don't know how you justify it any other way. But when you win back-to-back national championships, like, you're the king of college football and the college football, and you've owned college football the past 2 seasons. And so I think, it's a tough thing for people to say sometimes. I'll say this too. Clemson had that mantle for a little while. Clemson looked like they were the next team. So Georgia's got to do their part to sustain it. But right now, like the standard in college football is Georgia.
So look, that is unquestioned objective truth as it stands. Like there can be no argument against that. Going forward, though, you still have an Alabama team that is supremely talented from the overall roster makeup. They got like a new record recruiting class coming in because of course they do. And after a year in which we just saw Kirby Smart affect Vladimir Putin levels of propaganda effectiveness, right? Like convincing his team that everybody was talking about 5-7, 7-5. Are you at all worried that Bama is going to use this moment as the kind of restore order moment? Like, like look at what they're saying about you. It's time. Like, are you worried about the empire striking back, essentially? Not even because what you said, but just in terms of who will be college football king. Does Nick Saban have one of those big punches left in him?
100%, I think he does. Has the talent, has the recruiting class. They got to find their quarterback when you start looking at for them for the future. Obviously, losing Will Anderson, they got to find. They're going to lose Branch. They're going to lose three first-round picks probably to the draft. So they're going to have to find some things to replace. Here's the thing: when it comes to Georgia, this is a totally different job for Kirby Smart next year. Kirby Smart had it a lot easier last year. You know why? Because Kirby Smart got to look at everybody in the room and go, you didn't contribute. You didn't contribute. You didn't contribute. There's 15 guys in the NFL. That didn't have jack shit to do with you. You didn't do anything. But now you got a bunch of guys that were on the field, were key contributors. I think you're going to lose 6 guys. Like 6 guys. You're going to be right here in the mix. Your receiving core is going to be better. Quarterback, you're going to be just fine, by the way. Like Carson Beck is an absolute stud superstar. The only thing you can say about Carson Beck that I need to see is in the big moments like Stetson. Stetson was so great in the big moments. But, I mean, all these guys are back. You got to replace, Jalen Carter, Ringo, Christopher Smith, Beal on defense. Broderick Jones, Stetson Bennett, if Broderick Jones leaves, which I think he will, Broderick Jones, Stetson Bennett, and Darnell Washington. I mean, and granted, that's a lot of talent, but this rebuilding job is going to be different because all those guys had a big part in that national championship run. So now you got to take that, like Kirby called, I love it, disease, the disease of complacency and the disease of, what you've already, secured and what you've already done not to creep in. So it'll be a tougher job next year.
I know you say it's going to be a tougher job, but you look at that schedule, and my goodness, is it going to be maybe one of the easiest schedules in all of college football next year? Yes, like you have to worry about complacency, but who are you playing? Like at Tennessee is going to be the hardest game on that schedule. That's it. I mean, maybe Spencer Rattler at South Carolina.
In fairness to Georgia, Aaron, they had Oklahoma's schedule, but when they set
the
SEC, it changed it a little bit. Obviously, because you look at 2 years ago it was Clemson, last year was Oregon. So, they've done a good job of challenging themselves at a conference, which I think is smart. But, that schedule next year, it's going to be hard. Hey, keep your head down. Keep working. Don't look ahead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
they'll be just fine.
The propaganda skills are going to be put to the test just in terms of making that team care week in and week out. But okay, one thing Kirby Smart, and it's something that Brian Kelly has as a kind of a core pillar of his process philosophy. Whether or not he accomplished it, we'll see. One thing Kirby Smart has done, David, I know you're close to the program, so I want some insight here. How has he managed to get all of these superstar recruits and make them into blue collar guys, right? He has a group of guys that would be individual superstars and are, but would be even more so on any other team. And he has them fully bought in to the idea of sacrificing the self for the team. How has he accomplished that?
So when you go to a practice, before the Ohio State game, me and my high school football coaches, we went to offensive meetings, defensive meetings, special teams meetings, and then we went to a practice. And it was mind blowing to watch Kirby. Like every single meeting in the front, every single meeting, comments, special teams, comments, defense, off. Like he is so dialed in. And when your coach cares that much, you'll care that much. When your coach cares about special teams, you'll care about special teams. When your coach cares about the little things, you'll care about the little things. And I think he's just a no-nonsense guy. Dude, listen to that leaked press, the pregame speech.
Oh, it was so sick, dude. Oh, it got me so fired up.
That is my alarm to wake up every morning. The problem was I knew I was going to have to fix my sheetrock because I was going to run through the flipping wall every morning. So, I think that it's a trait of his that he's He's always a grinder. He's got an I wish everybody understood what kind of personality Kirby Smart has. Like, he is a ball buster. He is so good at speaking college kids' language and busting on people. And everybody gets called out. Everybody is going to get called out, and everybody in the place is going to laugh when it's your turn, and you're going to sit there and eat it other times. So I think it has a lot to do with his personality. And here's the thing. He's still only 47. You know, he's still somewhat of a young guy. How long can he keep that pulse, and how long can he keep that energy, man? That's a real thing. You've seen people burn out, and Urban Meyer have a lot of success, but I just think it's his attention to details, his focus, his want to be great, and his ability to show up every day and show them what it looks like.
All right, so I want to switch it up to the Stetson conversation, and you know, David, you obviously are one of the greatest players in Georgia history, top 2, top 3, kind of in that discussion there with Herschel. You know, even T-Bob and LSU guy had a little bit of a chubby when I told them you'd be joining the show today. So like that's the respect you get across the country. Favorite play ever there, that South Carolina play. And now all of a sudden we've gone from the conversation of where's Stetson in the quarterback ranking. I think most of us agree he's surpassed us all and is number 1 now. But where do you view Stetson? Because it's there's many ways to look at it. Do you view the ranking as the most athletic, the guy that accomplished the most in the NFL, or is it the guy that accomplished the most during his time at the university? So I think that kind of skews people in different views. But when you look at that ranking of all-time greats, and I talked to Champ last night for a while too about this, and obviously he's right there with you as well. Where do you see Stetson?
I'm not good at this. This is not one of my strengths. Because I think there's so many factors, like Tom Brady. People automatically say Tom Brady's the GOAT automatically because he won the most. Well, I would also be the same person that would argue that if Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees played for Bill Belichick and all those teams, I think it would be pretty comparable. I don't think there'd be much difference. So, Aaron, let me ask you a question. If you had that defense, if you had the system and Kirby,
oh yeah,
I feel very.
But I didn't know. I didn't.
You did not. I feel very confident your legacy would be very similar to Stetson Bennett's. So I think I think you got to give him mad respect because he's earned it. His ability to play big in big games is stupid. Like it is unbelievable to be, last year Orange Bowl MVP, Natty MVP. This year Peach Bowl MVP, Natty MVP. Like 6 touchdowns. It's unbelievable that he's been able to do it. But I don't know how to do the comparison of, to me, Herschel Walker, like greatest, most transcendent talent, put you on my back. Like I need very little else. No disrespect to anybody else that played with Herschel, but like I think it's so hard to measure the degrees of who's the greatest. And I think everybody's going to look at different things, but man, the greatest story is undeniable. Like this is the greatest story in college football history. And he did absolutely nothing to change anybody's minds about how, or he actually just validated it more and more because, last year, beginning of the season, I remember being on set and just, fighting for Stetson Bennett just because I thought he had something a little bit different about him. Now, did I think he would turn into what he turned into? No, I didn't know he would turn into that. But you talk about a guy that I didn't know this. He's got the biggest onions and the most confidence of anybody I've ever met. Like, I had to get confirmation of this, and I did. Second quarter against TCU, I'm watching the play. I'm watching him come to the line. I forget, it was third down, plus territory going in. I watch him come to the line. I see he sees the blitz. I absolutely see he sees the blitz. He sees it. He walks up to the line, doesn't change the play. Mentor, 13 for TCU, comes flying off the edge. He spins out, runs for a first down. I had to get confirmation, but I knew deep down in my heart, he absolutely saw it and said, I'll make that guy miss. I talked to I talked to 2 of the coaches over there. 100% what happened. Like 100% what happened.
No,
so unbelievable stones, like unbelievable trust and love in himself. So he's on the Mount Rushmore because of back-to-back natties and what he's done. Where you put him, I don't know. I think Herschel, just from an individual talent, and you get that guy, you immediately win a natty. But Stetson, what he's done the last couple of years is just silly.
The greatest underdog story in college football history. Interesting, because I don't know that I have couched it that way yet. But yeah, it's pretty undeniable. I mean, boys, even at this year's SEC Media Days, I had a UJ beat reporter on, and they were talking about replacing Stetson this year. And he was trying to tell us, like, watch out now. I mean, there's some, you never know. There's some people coming. So whatever. It's unreal. How about this? So Aaron's a big watch the tape guy, and he offered up a very thought-provoking question today.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Really?
It was Muhammad Massaquoi. I don't know.
That's right. Muhammad Massaquoi. You're right.
Muhammad Massaquoi texted me the other day, David, and said this. I'll let T-Bob finish. Since it's
you finish. You go ahead. Go ahead. Aaron.
Okay.
Just tell him.
Muhammad texted me the other day and said, I haven't watched a lot of Bryce, but is there that much of a gap between Bryce Young and Stetson Bennett?
Well, it's interesting because those two comparisons, I like it because they're both slight. They're both not very big. So Bryce Young, his comparison for me is Steph Curry. Like, he's got so much natural shake, playmaking, ability to make plays outside the structure that is just the stupidest things you've ever seen. So I think Stetson plays really good within the structure. I think he gets the ball out fast. I think you've seen him. He wants to be aggressive. I love the people that are like, oh, he's just a game manager last year. I'm like, no, he's actually a bomb taker. Like, he wants to throw deep first, check down second. It always felt like that to me when I watched him. But I think Bryce Young probably, and Stetson has really good accuracy. Bryce Young probably has a little bit more talent, a little better arm, a little bit better creativity. I think Stetson's a lot faster. I think top end speed and get out of there and go. I think Stetson's got a little bit more of that probably, but I think Bryce Young is going to be a guaranteed top 10 pick. And I think Stetson's probably going to get drafted like in the 5th round, something like that.
But is there that much of a difference though? Like, is there a 4-round difference in your mind between those two quarterbacks?
Oh man.
It's tough.
It's tough.
No,
I don't see that big of a gap.
It is tough. Make this a lot easier if you just go, hey, Stetson, go play on Alabama and see how you do. Like that would be because I feel like Bryce Young dragged Alabama this year. Like, just dragged them game after game. Like, it was him or bust. Like, go score me 50, go score me 40, go make every single thing happen. Where Stetson, he played much more on schedule, and he had more structure. I think the offense is a lot better. He has Brock, which, by the way, is a cheat code. I mean, that completely changes the way defenses play you. And so Bryce definitely on a talent standpoint, playmaking standpoint, you would say has been better. But I understand what you're saying, because Stetson, especially this late in this season, I mean, goodness gracious, he's been unstoppable.
Yeah, and he has the 4 MVPs in the 4 big games. But go ahead.
Let me add one more thing. The biggest difference I've seen between the two, actually, because I'm doing this on the fly, is I think Bryce Young has more consistency. Stetson Bennett, to me, he is blazing hot, smoking hot. And then he'll go through a lull where he went through in the middle of the season. He had a 4-game stretch where he had like 3 total touchdowns. He'll have a little bit of I'm fire, I'll get a little bit cold, a la Peach Bowl 3rd quarter, and then be smoking hot in the 4th quarter. So a little bit more maybe up and down than Bryce has had.
Look, dude, Aaron, I feel like we pretty much I feel pretty validated. That was kind of the same answers that we arrived at when we were workshopping this. David, we've already kept you long, man. I know you're very busy. Man, what's the biggest hurdle to a Georgia three-peat next year?
I mean, I think it's what I talked about earlier. It's the guys that have already accomplished the things and been a big part of it, getting them to continue to buy in. What you got?
Give me a team then. Who is the biggest hurdle to a Georgia three-peat? Who's the biggest threat?
Well, I mean, you start with let's see, golly, man. The problem is if you go Bama, breaking in a quarterback, breaking in a lot of new pieces. If you go Ohio State, breaking in a lot of new pieces. Michigan's probably going to be breaking in a new coach. Breaking in some new pieces. Yes, I saw you point to LSU, but not ready for LSU yet.
Yeah, that's the answer, David, right there, dude. Get ready.
Too much ride the roller coaster. That's a sweet lid, though. I will say that.
Oh, hey, David, thank you so much, man. This was awesome. You obviously do incredible work. ESPN College Game Day, you catch him everywhere. He's got a lot going on. David, thank you so much, man. And I hope you enjoyed getting another national championship for all you Bulldogs out there, dude.
It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Hey, T-Bob, we got to get you. We got to get you to come out to the golf tournament with Aaron too. So come out and play in our golf.
Heck yeah! Hey, David,
yes,
I want to ask. Sorry, last one. You're too good. I can't let you leave this one. I had this struggle the other day because we are former players and we didn't win it, and that's one thing that it's always hard as a competitor to not win the championship. But fans, there's like 3 categories: players, fans, letterman. Fans are kind of in like, we just won a natty. It's hard for me to jump into that group and say, and tell people, hey, we just won a natty. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't win a natty. It's like, how do you balance like fandom, letterman, feeling pride in winning a national championship, claiming a national championship when you really didn't win a national championship?
I know what you're saying, and it gets better as you get older. I'm a good bit older than you, so once you start getting older, it's like, whatever, bro. Like we won it. We didn't do anything. We did as much as every fan sitting in the stands. But man, I mean, Aaron, you laid the foundation of what they're at, and that sounds corny, but whatever. It's truth. Like 2012, when you were 3 yards short. Like, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable that people saw that growing up in Georgia football, and they saw how good the red and black was, and that led to people building it up even more and getting Kirby. And we all have a small part in it that we get to take some pride in and say we helped make it better than it was. And I think you were a big part of that. And it doesn't matter. Like I'm so happy for fans that get to celebrate. Like last year after experiencing that, never having experienced it. Like this year for Tennessee, like I was so happy for Tennessee fans because I knew what it was like to be close and irrelevant and come back and then finally win it. So I think it makes you definitely more grateful. But the older you get, you realize, especially now, I've been in this daggone business for, 13, 14, 15 years and had so many of those moments when you knew we were good enough and you came close and you didn't get it done. Like that's what I said about the Peach Bowl. The Peach Bowl to me felt like beating Alabama, but actually losing on the scoreboard to them several times, which is what happened. But it was reversed. We took care of it and got the score. So I think you take a lot of pride, but you don't get as much pride because you don't get that fat bling. That'd have been sick to have one of those rings.
Oh, it'd be so nice.
I know. David Pollack, Air Murray, just a couple of Georgia legends chopping up an LSU degenerate. Thank you so much, David. You have a great day, man.